So yes, I finally decided to go around to making this video to officially announce that I've gotten my Scylla and a new profile within a month of profile creation. Yes, I know that this has been done countless times and it's not really a flex, but I still think that it's pretty cool, huh? I'm sure most of you are wondering, what money making method did I use to obtain my Scylla? How long did it take? How many hours did I play? What's my playtime? And etc. So let me start off by saying that I wormfish for 8 to 12 hours a day and aim for 50 mil coins every day for 16 days to get the Scylla. I created a profile and did what every normal player should do until I had about 50 mil net worth. I joined during Jerry, so I got a decent amount of coins through Jerry boxes and grinded to HOTM3. After I got HOTM3, I grinded automatons and got my net worth up to 50 to 100 mil. All of this took about 8 days, and at this point, I told my viewers that I had the urge to grind for a Hyperion in a month of profile creation. Well, most of my viewers doubted me, and well, I took up the challenge and made getting my Hyperion in 1 month of profile creation my goal of the profile. I did not really have the requirements to use the Hyperion because Hyperion requires Kata 24 and floor 7 completion, but those two things, they're super easy, come on. So it doesn't really take that long to get your Kata 24 and floor 7 completion, so that was the last of my worries. So the reason I decided to go worm fishing as my money making method is because my stream chat told me that I made a lot more than automatons without much investment, and sure enough, that was indeed the case. Starting off, I had to get fishing 19, which was made super easy thanks to Marina's 50% XP boost. I used angler armor with a random rod till I hit fishing 12, and after I hit fishing 12, I switched to 3/4 salmon with a water hydro helmet and got a winter rod. I used this fishing setup until I was fishing 17 and switched to sponge armor because the best fishing set in the game is shark scale, which requires fishing 24, and the craft requires sponge armor. So sponge armor itself has a fishing requirement of fishing 17, whereas diver armor, which is better than sponge armor, has a fishing requirement of 20. Sure, I could have bought divers when I hit fishing 20 and resold it when I was fishing 24 to get my shark armor, but I really couldn't be bothered to do that, so I just kept using sponge armor until I was fishing 24 and upgraded my sponge armor to shark scale. As for my rod, I kept using the winter rod until I hit fishing 20 and upgraded to a rod of legends. Sure, I could have went for the challenging rod or rod of champions, but I couldn't be bothered. I seriously couldn't be bothered, so I just went for the rod of legends at fishing 20. As for my pets, I used a level 80 rare dolphin that I bought, which was quite cheap. After a while, I switched to ammonite, and it was a huge improvement over the level 97 rare dolphin. Yes, level 97 because I leveled it up quite a bit while I was fishing. The first few days of fishing was super inefficient, and I was barely getting more drops than automaton grinding. Automaton grinding made me about 3 mil plus an hour, whereas my initial grinding for worm fishing only made about 4 to 5 mil an hour. Well, the amount of money I was making from worm fishing quickly went up after I upgraded my gear, slowly but surely. And it immediately went from 3 to 4 mil an hour up to 7 mil plus an hour, 6 to 7 mil plus an hour. And I was getting that consistent even to this day when I'm making this video on the 29th of October. As for my armor, I upgraded to full shark scale, rod of the sea, ammonite with washed up souvenir, as well as fish bait. For shark scale, I did not have submerged or legion. For my rod of the sea, it's fully maxed out with expertise. I slowly leveled up the expertise from level 6 and now it's at level 10 with 20k plus kills. My ammonite pet I bought at level 80 with wash up souvenir, and it's currently level 100, which I do not know how much overflow XP. And fish bait is just the best bait overall to use. But this is not really a worm fishing guide. If you want to know more about worm fishing, you should watch my other video where I talk about worm fishing. Anyway, it took about 4 days of worm fishing before I hit peak efficiency. And the main issue I had with worm fishing was that I couldn't kill the worms fast enough. If you were wondering the amount of damage that I was doing, near the end of the grind, which is the one that you're seeing on the screen, I was doing about 30k damage with a 600 mil emerald plate. Yeah, that is not good at all. I was doing that kind of damage without a 1 for all though, so keep in mind, that damage was not with 1 for all. And before you ask, why not 1 for all? It's way more damage. The reason is because I needed looting for more membrane drops, and you can't really use looting with 1 for all because 1 for all just deletes looting. Yeah, that's the reason why I didn't use 1 for all. And I'm sure some of you are wondering my playtime when I got my Scylla. I got my Scylla at about 220 hours of playtime, and it was on day 26 of profile creation. Day 16 of grinding for the Scylla itself though. And you guys maybe some of you might think, hey, 220 hours, that's kind of slow. It took so long. It took so long to get a... Other people can do it in X amount of times faster than you. I mean, I don't really give a shit. Let's be real here. I don't really give a shit. I wanted to go for the Hyperion because I wanted to. I'm not trying to go fast. I'm trying to play casually. I wasn't even playing that much. I was only playing like 8 hours a day or some 6 to 12 hours a day, averaging between 8 hours. I'm just playing casually. I just want to play this for fun. If I was sweating this, I wouldn't even be streaming this whole process. And yes, I do know that I could have gotten my Scylla way faster if I had done other methods such as flipping, gemstone mining, dungeons, frag running. And here is my response as to why I did not do any of those. Gemstone mining requires a decent amount of investments, and seeing that I am an early game player with little to no coins to invest into mining, that was completely out of the question. From what I've heard, for gemstone mining should be truly efficient, you need 2 million gemstone powder and 2 million peripheral powder, and you need about full Devon armor with whatever, I forgot whatever gemstone you need, and a gemstone gauntlet. Those things require a lot of coins, and I do not have any of the amount of coins for all that. So I skipped gemstone mining. It was completely out of the question. I found flipping super boring. I know it could make about 10 mil plus an hour if you know how to flip, but I really found flipping super boring, and I really couldn't be bothered to flip. I found flipping boring. I mean, sure, some people find flipping fun, but personally, that's not my kind of thing. I don't enjoy flipping. So, and while I'm grinding for this, I want to do something that I enjoy, or something that I can actually relax with. Fishing, sure, some people find it boring, but I find it fun. I personally find it fun, so I'm okay with fishing to my Scylla. And for flipping, the other reason I did not flip was because I did not know how to flip. That's one. And my other reason was because I was streaming the entire process, and flipping plus streaming is not a good... They're not a good combination. Let me just tell you that. It is not a good combination to be flipping and streaming. So that was out of the question. As for frag running and dungeons, the reason I did not do either of those was because frag running it was way too inefficient. I had low catacombs, and even if I had catacombs 24 to do floor 7 frag runs, I did not have the gear to do floor 7 frag runs. And even if I did have the gear, it would be way too slow. For frag runs to be more efficient than worm fishing for me and with my setup, I will need to get at least 7 diamante handles in an hour, along with the other drops. At least 6 diamante handles if you count the other drops, and if the other drops make up for 1 mil, which probably don't. But if we're strictly counting only diamante handles, then I'll need about 7 diamante handles, and well, my RNG luck with frag running is not that good. I'm just gonna let you know that. And I die often while I'm trying to do frag runs after I got my Scylla. With Scylla and 3/4 storm with wither goggles, I couldn't even frag run. Let alone without a Scylla. As for dungeons, same reason. It's way too inefficient, and I did not really want to get carried all the way. I mean, sure, I did get carried to Kata 24. My floor 7 completion was not carried though. Sorta not getting carried because I did my first 3 floor 7 completions in a team without any wither blades with Kata 30s, and they had wither armor, I guess. It's not really getting carried. I did carry my own weight, sorta. Somewhat. I mean, I'll leave you guys to debate that. Also, I know one of you would ask this question, so I'll respond here. Why Scylla and not Hyperion, and why sharpness instead of smite? And my response to both of those is because I needed a left click weapon, so I went for the Scylla instead of the Hyperion. I wasn't going to be grinding dungeons a lot after I got with the Wither Blade, so I went with Scylla so I could use it for outside of dungeon purposes. And I could just switch it to Hyperion afterwards when I wanted to start grinding dungeons. Yes, I know Giant Sword with OFA does more damage out compared to Scylla, but after the Hyperion grind, I wanted to start grinding Talismans, Storm, and Necron, so I couldn't exactly save up for Giant Sword. So that's why I went with the Scylla instead. As for why I went with sharpness instead of smite, same reason, same logic. I needed to use that as a left click weapon for slayers, for my worm membrane, for my flaming worms, and all that stuff. So I went with sharp instead of smite because I wanted to left click with it as well. And smite wouldn't really increase my left click damage against worm membranes, against wolves, against endermen. And I can just replace sharpness with smite whenever I want, so I don't really see the point in worrying. If this was old Skyblock where you couldn't remove enchants, then I would have went for smite instead, but with the current technological advancements that Skyblock has went through, I need not worry about such minor details. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, I don't have anything much to say, so before the video ends, I would like to give a quick shout out to Ben, Lilypad Wizard, Darkness7979, Rose Gold, Hristy, Happy Gamer, AJ, Woodwagon, 20 Characters, Mistake, Light XC, 4-Piece Warriors, Warrior First, and 1HC. These are my viewers that have watched all of my streams and are active in my stream chat while I was grinding for my Scylla. So quick thanks to these guys. A special shout out to Hristy. I'm still trying to pronounce his name properly. Hristy. Hristy. That's how I used to pronounce it, but it's apparently wrong. Anyway, special shout out to him because he's the one who made all the thumbnails for all my streams, as well as this video that you're seeing. So if you guys want him to make you a thumbnail, you can contact him. I've left his Discord tag in the description box. And sorry if I missed anyone. And with that, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.